War Eagle, War Rapport family. I'm your host, C-Dub, and tonight we have a great show in store for you guys. You clicked on the thumbnail, so you already know what it is. We are talking about Bo Nix being rated the 5th tier QB by CBS Sports. Is it accurate or is it a little harsh? We got our thoughts. I'm pretty sure you have our thoughts, so get ready because we are entering the war room.
You are now listening to the War Rapport. Wednesday night War Room. Ike Jones. B. Will. C. Doe. Mike G. Let's go.
War Eagle, Auburn family, War Eagle, War Rapport family, happy hump day. Hope you guys are having a great week. Come on in here to this war room. Good to see you. We've been expecting you. Make sure you smash that like button, though. Make sure you drop a War Eagle in the comments. And if you're new here, please drop your city. Look, we want to know where you're listening to us from if you're new. And whatever you do, guys, you already know. Spread the word, share our video, please, using hashtag Get Your Weight Up if you're on Facebook and the Twitter. We will greatly appreciate that very much. Now, we got a lot of announcements to get through, some good stuff coming down the pipeline, and Mike G has all the details.
Man,
what you got,
listen, if you don't already know, become an insider. $5.99 a month will get you there. We have some great content coming up for you guys, for all our insiders. Our in-season, in-game experience will be insider only. We're going to be doing a film review, Monday film review during the season. You definitely don't want to miss this, so sign up. You can find that link on our main YouTube page. If you're on an iPhone, you might need to do so from a computer. It's a little difficult because of Apple, but we appreciate all our insiders. If you want to know what it's like to be an insider, ask one of them. They're in the live chat right now. They'll tell you it's the best $5.99 you'll spend on Auburn content this year. Our merch store is live, and to celebrate that, we are giving away a T-shirt. And it says watch the film, but I put Get Your Weight Up in, so I'm going to respectfully ask everybody to do hashtag Get Your Weight Up in the comments to enter that drawing. We will draw at the 1 hour mark. Hashtag Get Your Weight Up to win a Watch the Film T-shirt. So Ike is designing all this stuff. It's super dope. Appreciate everybody that's participating in that. I'll be sitting here watching that, please. So Get Your Weight Up, all one word, to enter. We are officially partnered with the Lee County Humane Society. If you tune into us, you've heard me talk about this quite a bit. This is a good that we have chosen to put back into the world to help people find rescue animals and add value to their life. Thank you to everybody who follows me on social media and has sent me well wishes for my pup. Obviously, she's been through quite an ordeal the last 10 days. Hopefully, we're on the back stretch of that. We found a good specialist that is going to get her back to full health. So I appreciate all the well wishes. She's a rescue, and I can tell you how much value she's added to my life is immeasurable. We want to help other people find that joy. Ike has a rescue. We are big supporters of animals here at the War Rapport, so we appreciate everybody who donates. 50 cents on every dollar goes to the Lee County Humane Society. So you can find this link in the About section of our YouTube channel. Visit there. Drop whatever you can. There's no donation too small when it comes to saving an animal's life. Now, if you haven't seen it already, we have a Building Rapport interview with JT O'Sullivan, former 49ers quarterback and the QB school, on YouTube. I read the comments and I saw that some people went over to his channel and subscribed. Some of you already knew about JT. He dropped some quarterback knowledge on us, which we will be talking probably about some of that tonight, given our topic. So go check that interview out. In my opinion, it's one of the best that we've done. And I enjoy immensely listening to knowledgeable football minds talk football with us. So we hope that you guys enjoy that. And that's it, man. That's all we're doing. So make sure you get into that drawing. Hashtag get your weight up. I see it coming in here. Y'all remember how to spell it. It's happening.
Indeed. You fellas doing good tonight?
Yeah, man. It's Wednesday, hump day.
All right. Yeah, of course, it's just the three of us. B Will is out tonight, but it's the three of us talking about quarterbacks. And I'm pretty sure you guys are ready to discuss this, but we gotta stick with what's current. We gotta hit you with the so breaking news at this point. But the NCAA finally decides to get off its rear end and actually clear the athletes to profit off of their name, image, and likeness. The board of directors met and voted to clear players to profit, and the new rules will allow them to profit by monetizing their social media accounts, signing autographs. Players can actually teach camps or profit off of giving lessons. If Tank wants to run an instructional running back camp, he could do that. They can start their own business if they want to. They can participate in advertising campaigns, which their athletes are already lining up for that right now. Players will be allowed to sign with agents and other representation to help them acquire endorsement deals starting on tomorrow. Restrictions will vary, of course, until Congress gets in place and pass something. Restrictions will vary based on state laws, policies created by individual schools, and for some states that don't have these laws, the schools will determine what those restrictions are. So here's a statement by our favorite NCAA president, Mark Emmert, and he says, "This is an important day for college athletes since they are all now able to take advantage of name, image, and likeness opportunities. With a variety of state laws adopted across the country, we will continue to work with Congress to develop a solution that will provide clarity on a national level. The current environment, both legal and legislative, prevents us from providing a more permanent solution and the level of detail student athletes deserve, blah, 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 blah." Mark Emmert is full of it. Now,
right.
I am happy. I mean, I'm happy for the athletes. I think it's sad that it took midway through 2021 for this to become a reality for these kids. But nevertheless, I'm glad that people outside of the NCAA took measures to force their hand to make this decision. We've talked about this for the past few weeks and given our thoughts. Now that we're here, how you guys feel about it? I'm gonna start with you, Ike.
Yeah, I mean, I've been an advocate of this for a while. It's definitely, it's something. It's a start, right? Like I do wonder what's going to happen in those states who weren't proactive about trying to get some legislation passed. So how those schools are going to handle those situations and kind of how they can take advantage of, or they're going to be disproportionately disadvantaged by this, right? So we'll see what happens, but I definitely think it's something that could have happened a long time ago. And yeah, it is surprising to see the statement from the president of the NCAA, who's had the opportunity for a long time to pull the trigger on something like this, and has balked at it, to come out with this glowing endorsement of it today. That's a little interesting for me, but hey, listen, it's where we need to be with it. So let's make it happen.
What you got, Mike G?
Mark Emmert, like you said, blah, 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 blah. I'm so happy. This is a big day for student athletes. It's a terrible day for you, Mark, because this is not what you wanted. This is not what he wanted. So the condescending insulting of our intelligence as if he actually wanted this to happen is bull. And you went to Congress and you got scolded. And they're saying, and they told you, we're doing your job because you failed to do this. Ike said it perfectly. He had plenty of time to address this.
Right.
They address everything else. They're only doing it now because states are forcing their hand to address it.
Right.
They're passing laws.
And if they had any hopes of like trying to appeal this or whatever, the Supreme Court basically
shut it down.
They took it out of their hands last week with their ruling. So it's just like he has absolutely nowhere to go except for hat in hand.
Yeah, man. Listen, the hell with him. Listen, our student athletes have deserved better for a long time. You know, and having been friends with so many of them during my time at Auburn, I'm just telling you, like,
our athletes.
These rules would have helped a lot of people when we were in school. They had time. Time. I think about family situations. I think about all kinds of situations, perilous situations that would have been helped by these rules. But it didn't matter to him because they were making the money that they wanted to make. And this potentially takes a chunk out of their pocket because all those corporate dollars that used to funnel straight to them now can go directly to athletes.
Yeah.
Right. So like, I mean, it rings hollow for me. I hate when people insult our intelligence, man. Just don't pretend. I mean, you know, hey man, we're here. Just go up there and say, hey, we're here. We passed this. We finally heard from, you know, our institutions and from our athletes and from the states. And now we're moving forward with this. Yeah. That's a better statement.
Well, listen, listen, I would challenge that I probably did a better job of reading that than he read it. Because I'm pretty sure that did not come from the heart. He definitely read that from a cue card. No. So I again, it's if it wasn't for outside forces, players still would not be able to profit off of ther name, image, and likeness. So this was other people getting involved to do what was long overdue. Do want to ask you guys this. Stephen Nash is saying now that it's official, it's the Wild West. People are going to be offering more distractions than these athletes can possibly prepare for. I'm talking behind and on the main scene.
Yeah, we've kind of addressed this, right? Every single institution needs an NIL department.
Yeah.
And every student athlete needs to run through that. Now it's going to cost them some money and some resources, but they have to regulate this at the institutional level.
Right.
There's no blanket rule that you're going to get that's going to solve it too. The schools have to self-police.
Yeah, there's two things that come to mind when I think about this. Number one, you know, and I said this last time when we were talking about this on the last show, that the schools that saw this coming and got out in front of it are going to be in the best position because they're already going to have things in motion. You know, thankfully, the state of Alabama, you know, I get to say something positive about the state of Alabama in their the way that we legislate things. Yeah. I mean, hey, listen, we love football here, right?
It's college football. They're going to get it right with that.
But thankfully, they got out ahead of this. And so now institutions in this state, at least, had the opportunity to start preparing the groundwork. But hopefully, other schools in other states that didn't have the same sort of legislative backing were able to see the signposts and say, all right, let me go ahead and get my stuff together and figure out how we're going to maneuver in case this happens. So hopefully that's the case for them. That's number one. Number two, I'm thinking about poor Tennessee, who's up there that just got scolded by the NCAA. And now all of a sudden there's a legality that would have allowed them to do some of the things that they just got reprimanded for. Right. And it ripped their entire college football program apart. So thank you, Tennessee, for being ambitious and getting ahead of it in the wrong way. Because we were the recipient of a great defensive lineman because of it. So, yeah, thumbs up on both accounts.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, well, that's that. I mean, we weren't going to stay there long. We just had that was breaking news. We wanted to definitely address that before we get into the fun stuff. All right. For what everyone has come for, CBS. I mean, this is the time of year where these lists are coming around, and I must say, listen, we have in this off season, we have been judged, we have been criticized for our lack of football knowledge because of our opinions of Bo Nix. Now, some other people are starting to get in the mix, and it's starting to get a little interesting. So, CBS Sports released was it over the weekend? I think you saw, or last week, Mike?
I saw last week, yeah.
You referenced it on our last live, and I said, well, let's hold off. Let's talk about this now. And so they listed they rated the quarterbacks in college football, and they didn't rate every quarterback. They broke it off into a total of 5 tiers. Okay. And so here are the
top
tiers.
50 quarterbacks, I think, in the country.
Top 50. And so Bo Nix is in the top 50, but you may not like where in the top 50. Okay. He's kind of like 45. All right. So here's a list of the top 4 tiers. And so you'll note there's some notable names. We'll break them down, but here's what the tiers look like. Tier 1, you see a list of 5 quarterbacks. Tier 2 it's a bigger crowd of guys in that, and we'll break down who from the SEC. There's some notable names in this list, though, that I do want to point out. In Tier 2, you'll notice Malik Willis.
Talk about it.
Sound familiar, anyone?
Tell them about the gun line, boss.
Yeah.
So
I've heard of that guy before.
Another quarterback that you may want to make note of is actually in Tier 3. That's Hank Bachmeier. He is the quarterback for Boise State, whose former coach is at Auburn. So that's something interesting to note here. Now, if you notice in Tier 4, Clemson's quarterback, DJ, I'm not going to attempt it. He's in Tier 4. Bryce Young is in Tier 4. We'll talk about the SEC quarterbacks, but I wanted you guys to see the top 4 tiers. Bo Nix is in.
One other name in Tier 4 here.
Go for it.
Tyler Show, the guy who everybody was talking about whether or not we should go get him out of Oregon, now playing at Texas Tech, is in Tier 4 here.
Yep,
and had a very comparable career almost. Stat line.
And the guy who's taking over for him is in Tier 3.
Right.
Yeah.
At Oregon.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I would just like to point out that the Gus Bus has a Tier 1 QB according to this list.
Yes.
Which is notable because there are only 5 guys who made that list of Tier 1 QBs, and they think that Dylan Gabriel is Tier 1.
One of the top 5 quarterbacks in the nation.
Country. So, just saying.
Yeah. So we moving on to the next list, or this next screen I want you guys to see is, here's a breakdown of the SEC quarterbacks. All right, let me fix this real quick so you can see everything here. This is according to 247 Sports. JT Daniels is in Tier 1, so they think very highly of him. He's a Tier 1 quarterback, followed by Matt Corral of Ole Miss. Now, Matt Corral is very talented, but was up and down at points last year, but he's a Tier 2 quarterback nonetheless. Tier 4 is Bryce Young, Emory Jones, who's the heir apparent at Florida, Connor Bezelak at Mizzou, and Bo Nix. Now, they made some comments about the Tier 5 QBs. Their explanation about the Tier 5 QBs is these are guys who either there was question marks about their ceiling and where they are. Apparently, these are embattled starters, guys who've been starting for a while, who have had up and down results, who they're unsure about their ceiling and whether or not they can actually take that next step, right? So the criticism of Bo Nix is the explanation of Bo Nix is fair because we've talked about it. Bo Nix has been inconsistent being at Auburn. So I understand the rationale, but what I want to know from you guys, and let's get into it. We'll talk about some of the other quarterbacks because Mike G, I know you got some thoughts. Let's just keep it to Bo right now.
Okay.
I will stay on Bo.
Is this accurate? Or is this a little harsh even for the War Rapport?
Bring up the national one again. Let's look at the national one again. And we're going to talk about Bo Nix, and are there quarterbacks on this list who Bo Nix is better than? That's the question you have to ask yourself.
Yeah.
Regardless of what tier he's in, is he better than any of the quarterbacks on this list? Now, I'm going to be honest and say I haven't seen a lot of these guys play, so I don't know.
Yeah, anybody claiming to is lying too. You ain't seen all these guys play.
Right. So, like, if you tell me you know Levi Lewis and how well he's playing at with the Raging Cajuns down there, then, you know, God bless you. You watch way more football than I do. But here's the thing that frustrates me about lists like this is that you have guys like Bryce Young in tier 4. He hasn't played a down of college football yet. So how are you I get it, you're projecting based upon their ceiling, but he hasn't played a single snap in a game.
Right.
Not one.
Right.
So how can you say that he's that good? At least the vast majority of these other people, you've at least seen them play. And let's bring up the other name that we just talked about, Tyler Show. You're telling me you think Tyler Show's a better quarterback than Bo Nix? How?
Oh, I could make that argument.
I cannot. Yeah. Based upon what?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a small sample size of stats on Show at Oregon last year, but the advanced statistics say that he's a more accurate quarterback.
I can tell he's a more accurate quarterback. That's great. Being a more accurate quarterback does not automatically make you a better quarterback. It just doesn't. Doesn't automatically make you a better quarterback. It means you have the potential to be a good quarterback. But if you are accurate and still make bad decisions with the football, that's going to equal points going the other direction.
Yeah, I don't know that he's much better than Bo, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not arguing. I'm not arguing. I think he's comparable. Yeah,
I think he's comparable. I think he's comparable. And the dude lost his job.
To put him in a tier above Bo, though, is where I'm at. Like, okay, so like if Tyler Show is a tier 4, why is Bo Nix not?
Yeah, okay. So here's where I'm at about this. I'm bursting at the seams here. And so we're clear. Bo Nix has a tier 1 ceiling.
For sure.
He has a tier 1 ceiling, but he's got tier 5 results.
We need to see your face when you say this. Hold on. Say that, repeat that again.
Talk to people. Bo Nix has a tier 1 ceiling, right? But he's got tier 5 results, which does not put him in tier 5.
Yeah, I think it's kind of ridiculous. Like, again,
I mean,
I don't know if he's better than any of the guys above him because I haven't seen all those guys play.
Yeah. Tier 1 ceiling. I mean, I don't think that you can actually have seen Bo play and think that he doesn't have the ability, like the measurables, the arm, the athleticism. Now, whether he actually uses it or not is where our doubts have always lied. Whether he can harness that up here, right, to play the game at a high level has always been the story of Bo Nix. But I don't think that the average between tier 1 ceiling or talent and tier 5 results puts you in tier 5.
Right.
But that defies the law of averages.
Yeah, that's a great point. The law of averages says there's no way
he's in tier 5. You went and you put guys who, again, Ike so astutely pointed out, have not played a snap of college football in a tier above him.
Yeah, so it's a ridiculous bucket.
I mean, listen, let me ask
you this. I don't believe this. I'm trying to make sense of what we just saw. Do you think that he is there for that exact reason you just mentioned, Mike, is that a lot of people wanted him to be tier 1 so bad. And the fact that he hasn't played like it, you don't want to just leave him off the list.
Yeah. But
we know that.
Yeah.
We know that. But most people just have a bird's eye view of the program, and because he hasn't fared well, it has to be Bo. Okay, right. But we know better than that. So what I'm saying is that we remember the hype. We remember the hype when Bo got to Auburn, right? We remember him being a legacy. Everyone loves a good story. He's been very inconsistent. And so because he hasn't lived up to that and he's going into year 3, tier 5. Could that be the logic there?
Trash.
Yeah. I mean, I
don't agree, but I'm just saying, is that the logic? Probably.
I mean, there's some recency bias in there. I'm just saying it's trash logic. If you've actually watched him play, there were a lot of systemic things that were happening to Bo as well too, and first and foremost, the guy who went to UCF, right, the guy who has a QB currently in tier 3 from Boise State. So, there will be some improvement there. The system did not set Bo up for success. And then Bo was his own worst enemy in some ways. So I get it. But to me, what I'm having a problem with is the people who they put over Bo in the other tiers. Just admit that this list lacks any objectivity. That's all I'm saying. How can you claim this is an objective list when, again, you're listing guys who never took a snap in college football over a guy who is one of the few quarterbacks to actually go out and win a game against Alabama?
Right. And so here's the problem I have with this list as well. Again, this is not me saying Bo Nix is a tier 1 quarterback, because by no stretch of the imagination am I trying to make that kind of reach. What I am saying here is that Bo at least has played top tier competition for 2 years straight. And statistically, whether we're talking about completion percentages or not, how many yards he's been able to put up, and all that,
touchdowns versus interceptions.
To me, that allows you to take him at least up to tier 4. I mean, like, again, you can't put a kid that's not taking a single snap and tell me you think he's better than Bo. Like, that's just silly. Like, just come on, let's be for real.
Yeah, having not taken a snap, if you're going to rank QBs who have not played a game with QBs who have played lots of games, I think there's a tier you shouldn't even be able to reach unless you've taken a snap in college football, right? So it's kind of like standardized testing, right? And you get so many points for just signing your name correctly at the top, right? Bo signed his name correctly, so out of tier 5, he would have to be complete and utter garbage to be tier 5 after 2 years, and some of the games that he's won, maybe not wholly because of him, but like, I have problems with this, man. I think that whoever wrote this lacks any objectivity in their life at all.
So let's examine this too. And I know we said we wanted to, Mike G and I talked about this. That's the only reason I'm bringing this up. How is it, again, I hate to keep coming back to the Bryce Young thing. And, thank you for the comment somebody just said in here about
Bryce Young better than,
Oh, yeah. No. Let's talk about this. Bryce Young is better than Bo based upon what? Like, how do we know Bryce Young is better than Bo?
Yeah, I mean, again, all that is that's bias. That's Bama bias.
Right. Which I get. They've earned the ability to have the bias as a team. But how do you put Bryce Young in that position and he hasn't played a snap? So let's just take that out of here for a second. Okay, so great. Let's take Bo Nix out of that conversation. We're not going to even talk about Bo Nix. How is it that you've seen 2 quarterbacks from LSU play this year, and neither of them are on this list? Bryce Young has not played a single snap, and he's at tier 4.
Miles Brennan is not on this list.
You still sell me on objectivity.
Yeah, Miles Brennan didn't even make the list.
Right.
Look at what Max Johnson did at the end of
put it back
LSU
up.
Season.
We'll put it back up here. Let's look at the SEC guys. I don't see a Miles Brennan here.
Right.
Or even Max Johnson.
Like, you're telling me Miles Brennan was leading the SEC in passing yards before he got hurt.
And let's be real, Matt Corral is not tier 2. I'm not putting him tier 2. I'm putting him tier 3, maybe.
Again, he's got tier 2 talent ceiling, and he's got tier 3 or 4 results. So you're right. He's like a tier 3 quarterback. I just don't. I'm telling you, these lists drive me insane. They drive me so crazy, and I really feel like if you're Bo, because he's going to be our quarterback to start the season, man, take this personally.
For sure.
Yeah.
Take this personally, man. Go out and tier 5. I got your tier 5 right here. That's what you should say.
Yeah.
And go out.
I said, you can't sell me objectivity with this. Is this all I'm saying? Like,
no objectivity there. Now listen, my stance on Bo has not changed at all. It's not changed. He is an excellent athlete that has lacked excellent coaching and has less than excellent results to show for it. Right? Inconsistent play yields inconsistent results. And his teammates and his O-line and his wide receivers have suffered some from his inconsistencies.
Yeah.
But there have been other things that that have been affected him negatively as well too. And I think if you're going to judge, the guy on this in this way, you have to take into account all those things that he's up against. Right? Some of his results aren't on him. Drop balls, poorly designed plays, a porous O-line. That doesn't automatically make him a tier 5 quarterback. Right. You have to be able to judge him independently of the things that are outside of his control.
Right.
And that's what I don't think that this list does. There are things.
Well, they can't do that because that means you have to watch and be intimately involved with all the inner workings of each program as to what led to the production of those quarterbacks. They're not going to do that. It's just an eye test for them.
Yeah, you have to factor out all the things that are outside of his control to truly judge a quarterback on his own merits. And there are ways to do that by looking at advanced statistics, by looking at adjusted completion percentage, by looking at not under pressure and under pressure statistics to see whether a quarterback is truly tier 5 or not. Those stats exist.
You cannot do with a player who has not played a single place.
Exactly. My point. Right. Exactly. So, if you now listen, Bryce Brown, this doesn't shock me that they put him in Bryce Young. I'm sorry. They put him in tier 4, which doesn't shock me because 247 released a list where they rated him like the 16th highest recruit in the last 20 years. So they had bias toward this young man coming into this. I remember reading that list, and I mean, there were the names in front of him on that best recruits of the last 2 decades were like Julio Jones, and I mean, just like no busts.
Right.
Kyler Murray, right? Like just there were no busts on that list. So they already thought that he is going to, there's no way this kid can fail. He can only fail up as far as they're concerned. So I'm not shocked that they did that, but man, I'm telling you, but if you're going to rate, they should have made a separate list for quarterbacks who haven't taken a snap.
Yeah.
I got a great question here, guys. A great question by Lawrence. This is a shout outs to Lawrence. Great question. Is JT Daniels still in tier 1 if he played against Bama? You're assuming that JT Daniels struggles on the road against, what was it, last year they played on the road against Bama?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is he still that high up if he plays against Bama?
I don't know if JT Daniels is that high up if he plays the full season, right? Like, he came in with a lot of hype and everybody was super high on him. And he doesn't play the first couple of games because of whatever, right? And then he comes in later and everybody's like, oh, this is why we loved him so much. And, he's going to be a difference maker. I just don't know. Again, I don't know. Like, there's so many unknowns with a guy who's taken so few snaps in the SEC that I can't get too high or too low on him. Like, he's just not anything. Like, I mean, if you would have judged it after week 4, which is, I think, the last, you would have had to put, one of the kid from Mississippi State was in there lighting it up the first week against LSU. He's a tier 1 quarterback.
Right.
Saw where he finished the season.
On the bench.
So I'm just saying, like, it's this small sample size crap. I mean, you flash back, shout out to Chase H. He tweeted at us this wonderful memory. Hopefully Uzi's not in here. I'm about to mention the name that he doesn't like. You take the small sample size of Jeremy Johnson the year before, and he's a tier 1 quarterback, right? He played one half of football really awesomely. And now all of a sudden everybody's got him in the Heisman hype, and he comes out the next year and lays an egg. Like, all this, we haven't seen them play, but they've got to be awesome because they did good in high school crap is stupid.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray wasn't like, let's remember when Kyler Murray was at Texas A&M, he was just all right. He was just okay. It wasn't until he got to Oklahoma that he
saw that come.
The all-star athlete that never lost a game in high school stuff. Right? It had to be in the right situation. So some of this is about situation. Bo Nix's situation has changed a lot in the last 6 months.
True story. Right. Yeah, is it? Listen, Kyler Murray left, an average QB coach situation and went to probably top 3 best situations you can go to in the country as a QB.
Right. For sure.
right? I mean,
sure.
the only other two schools I'm ranking up with Oklahoma in terms of QB development is Ohio State and Alabama at this point.
Look at this.
Yeah.
This is what I'm talking about.
Maybe
Florida. Maybe
Clemson.
Florida.
Yeah.
Florida, Clemson.
Yeah, I mean,
So
listen,
this is the resume that they're putting JT Daniels tier 1 because he did so well against Mississippi State, Missouri. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah, right. So this is something that I want to come back to midseason. Mark this.
Well, see, listen, we can come back. We can come back after week 1 because Clemson plays Georgia, and I want to see how those two quarterbacks who are on this list fare against each other.
Yeah,
I want to see how immediately you're gonna know off the bat if JT really is tier 1 or not.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm looking at it, and JT Daniels tier 1. I mean, I hope for Georgia's sake. I mean, that's where they've struggled.
Yeah,
is quarterback play. They got everything else. They got all the other pieces for a championship team except for a quarterback, really. But going back to our quarterback, to Bo's situation, I don't think they were ruining quarterbacks at Texas A&M. I just think that clearly Oklahoma is a better situation for any quarterback. Right? They haven't been doing great. I'm not saying they were doing great with quarterbers, but I can't.
No, they weren't ruining quarterbacks. The issue with Texas A&M was not they didn't even attempt to have balance.
Right.
When they thought every quarterback was going to be freaking Johnny Manziel.
Yeah.
Kenny. Somebody mentioned Kenny Hill in the comments. They thought he was going to be the next Johnny Manziel.
Kenny Trill.
Yeah. And
Kenny Trill.
Then you
had an amazing game against South Carolina, and then you never to be heard from again.
Yeah, and then you had Tyler come in. They thought he was going to be the next Johnny Manziel. And it's like, yeah, Johnny Manziel was kind of a one of a kind dude. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
But like, all this hype for people again. Maybe Bryce Young is going to be amazing, and they're right. But you can't tell me today you know that. Like that's the BS that I'm not buying.
Yeah, I can buy if you think that he's going to finish, tier 3 or 4 or wherever by the end of the season. I can buy that if you're projecting. But if you're telling me right now already he's a better quarterback than some of the guys, or just as good as, right? I would argue Emory Jones could make a case even for tier 3 based on at least a little bit of sample size that we've seen of him play.
And who his coach is.
Yeah, but this list is a judgment of not just the quarterback, but the institutions that they play for. Yeah. That's really what it is. Being at Florida gives Emory Jones a boost out of tier 5.
Right. Right.
Being
at Clemson gives that kid a boost.
Yeah, it gives DJ a boost. I mean, and not just that.
Well, in the small little bit you saw against when he played in Notre Dame,
he came in through for 400 yards.
But I made this comment when I think we were watching the game together. I was like, he can't throw the deep out though, man. Oh my God! Like especially if it's to his left, he overthrew it. Like he had like 6 of them. He overthrew 5 of them. He looked like.
To see if he works on that though.
Our number 2 quarterback in the 8A game, who again I refuse to mention his name, so you can get mad at me if you want to, Shank.
Okay, so if this list is not only a judgment of the quarterback but the institutions that they play for, I don't see how you don't give Bo a boost up to tier 4
at least
for having Brian Hartson,
coach.
Yeah, because that guy
who's responsible for having a QB already on said list.
Yeah, come on, man.
Yeah,
come on, dude. Just be reasonable. But this is kind of where I like to be as an Auburn fan. Disrespected, underappreciated, overlooked, so that we hope that holds until SEC play. Right. That's how I want LSU to feel about us going in the Baton Rouge.
Right.
So we can go in there and tap that and then come out with a W finally for the first time in 20 years. It's got to be, if you're Bo, man, you have to be, if he's got the right mindset, you're either blocking all this noise out completely or you're channeling this. Right. To go Super Saiyan blue on these mofos when the season comes, because that's complete and utter disrespect.
Now, just to be clear on this. Did you say this? Did you just want to make sure? Did you say this?
That's pretty much what I was saying. Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
just
man.
want to make.
Yeah,
just want to make.
Yeah, something about getting high. Yeah, I'm gonna get high, man, or something like that. Yeah,
man. I mean, this should be
Gotcha.
locker room. This is locker room stuff. I mean, this is poster board material.
For
Locker
sure.
room, man. Like they think our quarterback's a tier 4. Okay, tier 5. Okay. I mean,
you know who should be the absolute most motivated by this? Forget Bo Nix, right? You know who should be the absolutely most motivated by this?
What's that?
The guys on their offensive line and the wide receivers.
yep.
For sure.
Look, hey, I'm flattening any dude that runs up in here, and we're gonna let you operate this year. Throw the ball my way. I got you. That's all. Look. And we're gonna go out here and we'll see at the end of the year what they say.
Yeah, man. Yeah, listen.
Shut them up.
Tier 5 QB means all the guys you just mentioned are probably going to have a really crappy year. If he plays like a tier 5, we get tier 5 results. That means none of those guys are going to do well. Right. So like, I'll tier 5 QBs
same old,
can't get the ball.
Same old with them.
Yep. The tier 5 QBs can't get the ball to their receivers consistently, and their O-lines end up blocking for way longer than that should be necessary.
And the coaching staff we have right now does not coach that way.
They don't.
They're going to get the ball out of his hands as early as they can, as humanly possible, as often as humanly possible. And we're going to rely on our run game to neutralize everything else. Get it to the playmakers, run the ball down their throat, choke them out on defense. That's what I expect to see this year. And if he puts up modest numbers, we're going to win ball games. But I think an offense that is focused on making sure he gets it to playmakers more often. And I've said this about B. Will, talking about Bo Nix all the time. He's a streak shooter. He completes a couple of those early. He just gets in rhythm, and he's going to start picking defenses because again, the talent level is there. Right? He can do it talent-wise. It's about whether or not he can string it together for 4 quarters over the course of multiple games. Yeah, he can do it 1 or 2 games in the season. But I'm talking about like 5-6 games into the year, getting into SEC play on the road. Is he going to be able to do it? We'll see.
Yeah,
and I like to see how the strength of this offense is the running game, and I would love to see them doing some play action, bootleg, getting him out of the pocket where he's running, he's comfortable. Like I could see them playing to his strengths and not forcing him into a square peg into a round hole just to make him do what you want him to do. Play to his strengths. And I think you're going to help him get comfortable, help him get into a rhythm because he's doing the things that not only you're asking him to do, but things that he's comfortable doing. And I think that will allow him to settle into the offense, gain some confidence in what he's doing. He can focus and be more productive as opposed to the things that you were asking him to do that teams that already figured out this is what they're doing. They're lined up here. This is what they take it away and make Bo beat you knowing what he's doing. You don't know what he's doing this year.
Yeah, this is actually a really good comparison.
You know what?
This is a good comparison.
Yeah, for sure. Listen, here's what defenses are going to do to Bo Nix next year, right? They're going to squat on routes. They're going to sit in lanes because you're going to know that they're going to put an emphasis on getting the ball out of his hands quickly, and they're going to force him to hit them over the top. They're going to load the box. They're going to man up, and they're going to dare Bo to make throws down the field. And whether he climbs out of tier 5 to tier 3 even will be largely dependent on whether he can complete passes beyond 10 yards at about a 10 to 15% more clip than he was last year.
Yeah.
He was poor beyond 10 yards.
Yeah.
Completely. He was inaccurate.
I've gone and I've kind of looked at that 10 yards and beyond statistic a little bit more. I might want to, if I could get my hand, I think I have the footage from last year. If we can go, I might just go put a package together and we can look at his distance throws. The thing that sucks about a lot of those is, again, it was really poor design on plays. And it was asking the wide receivers to do stuff that I don't know that they were coached to do as far as winning routes or understanding their responsibility on stuff. That wasn't all just Bo being terribly inaccurate. Some of it was just like, hey man, you've got to make that throw, right? Like you can't overthrow Schwartz when he's got his guy beat by 2 yards. You can't, airmail it to freaking Stove, on a 15-yard out route or wheel route. You can't, there are some throws where it's like, dude, you've got to have that one. But there was a lot of instances on those deep routes where he's trying to make something happen in situations where he likely shouldn't have even thrown that pass. And that's this is the thing that I think drives Harsin crazy. Like you hear him talk about just making good decisions at a quarterback position. You don't have to hit a home run every time, even if it's third down and it is get the first down or get off the field. Sometimes it's okay to fight and live for the next drive, right? We're going to just throw this ball away and we're going to go out here. We're going to punt it. We're going to give it back to our defense, right? It's just we did not put our offense in positions to make good plays often. And both his statistics suffered because of that. Again, you've heard me say many times that does not abdicate him from having terrible pocket presence at a lot of times and bailing out of the pocket quickly, or for him having poor foundational just mechanics to deliver an accurate pass. But what it does say is that I think that if we put him in better situations, you're going to see a better ball player there. You can hear me say this right now. I don't think Bo Nix is a Heisman caliber quarterback.
No,
but I don't know. I think they're being a little hard on him.
You just manage the game, right?
Yeah.
Just manage the game. Don't mismanage. Manage the game. I think he's capable of managing the offense, and I think that's all Auburn can ask him to do. So if he can do that, go ahead.
8A was a perfect example of how he needs to improve his downfield passing game. All the passes downfield were not good, man. They were underthrown. He had a touchdown to Malcolm Johnson, underthrown.
Yeah.
That's it. That throw right there is a microcosm of what Bo Nix needs to, big picture, do to get defenses to respect him downfield and take some pressure off this O-line and make some space for these receivers. That's his role in this. When you get a big throw and it's a free throw, when you get a layup, make it.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's a frustrating thing for me about Bo Nix is that right there.
Yeah, when you get a layup, make it.
Blow the wide open layups. And he did that a little too often for my liking.
Yeah.
Somebody said something about the throw at the end of the Georgia game. Like that, just like there's like 3 feet and you missed the guy. Like I just don't understand those types of throws. But then again, it's the same guy who puts the ball on a laser to the back of the end zone against Bama his freshman year. Like how are these the same quarterback? It's the inconsistency that drives me crazy about Bo Nix.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of hoping that Harsin can actually settle him down at times to where, because I think oftentimes he's gotten in his head being frustrated with the outcome of how things are going to where he can't focus on the things that are within his control, right? And I'm just hoping that you have a coach in Harsin who can say, hey, settle down. You may need to sit out a series, Right. So I'm looking forward to see Harsin be that coach, because we didn't see that. We just saw Bo sulk until it was time for him to get back in the game, and he continued to go down. You know what I mean? So I'm hoping that things improve.
Yeah, they've got to, that will be what everybody's going to have an eye on with Bo, because in my opinion, that's primarily why this coaching change got made anyway.
Right.
That's reason number one: quarterback play, inconsistency at quarterback. And we can't, I mean, these days, man, you cannot win a championship without an elite quarterback. You just can't. Look at the last 4 or 5, champions. They've all had either Heisman quarterbacks, Heisman finalist quarterbacks, guys who were at least talked about for the Heisman. Those are the teams winning it all, because offense rules the day now. So if you don't have a dynamic quarterback, it's going to be really hard to win a championship. The rest of your team has to be tight. You got to have a top 5 defense and really good skill positions and a solid O-line to have an average quarterback and win a championship these days.
Right.
Which was the Bama formula back in the day.
Right. Right.
Julio Jones, Mark Ingram, top 5 defense. Greg McElroy is his quarterback.
Right.
And you can win a championship that way. You can't do that anymore. No, there are no Greg McElroys winning championships in the last 5 or 6 years.
No.
Those guys all go on to play ball at the next level. I think everybody knew. I mean, he had his chance, but everybody knew Greg McElroy wasn't going to be some bomb NFL QB.
No.
The Mark Sanchez's, like those types who had a lot of success at the college level, but it was really because their defense and the skill positions around them were just so good.
Right.
So, I mean, for us to have an okay season, I don't think the rest of our team is there. I think the defense has that chance, but I don't think that our O-line is quite championship level enough to carry an average quarterback.
Right.
I don't think our receivers are in that position right now either. They cannot be asked to carry. My favorite average quarterback of all time is Ken Dorsey. Average AF. But he had who catching the ball for him, like Kellen Winslow and Santana Moss, and he just had to throw the ball anywhere within 5 yards of Santana Moss, and it was caught down in Miami.
All-world defense.
Oh, man. Listen, he lost 2 games as a starter.
Yeah.
And was not good enough to play ball at the next level. But back then, those types of teams could win championships. Okay, quarterback. He didn't have a great arm. He just had guys who would go up and get the ball if he got it near them. Frank Gore was his running back. I mean, like, they were just unstoppable. Not Frank Gore. Was Frank Gore? No, he was Florida. Who was the running back? Miami.
Gore was running back.
Gore. Yeah. Frank Gore. Man, listen, that team was just stacked at skill positions, and they had a great defense. So, when I'm looking back on that, I'm just thinking that day of college football is gone. And credit, I mean, Brian hates when I say it, but credit to Nick Saban, man. He recognized it after they won a championship and went out and hired Lane Kiffin because he was sensing that shift was coming. We now have to be
Willis McGahee.
Willis McGahee. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. Yeah, I mean, and he went on. I mean, he was obviously had a decent pro career, but like,
terrible injury though.
Oh man, awful injury. Yeah, but when you again looking at what those teams did, that stopped around 2012. That's when all that stopped. And then we started seeing these dynamic quarterbacks come out. Think of the quarterbacks we've seen since 2012.
Yeah.
And the only way it works the other way around, where you have a dynamic quarterback carry a whole squad of average people, like Cam Newton did in 2010. I mean, those are one-offs. That rarely happens.
Right.
So, Bo's not Cam Newton. And unfortunately, because of the way the last coaching staff coached skill positions, we don't have the skill positions to carry him. Everybody's got to carry a little bit of the weight. So, it's why Clemson can throw their true freshman quarterback in for a couple games for their Heisman winner.
Right.
Because they've got everything around him is solid. He just has to go in and do okay. And he did a little better than that.
Right.
So they've got some work to do around it. And so bring it full circle back to this list. Right. I think this list is an indictment as well, too. Him being tier 5 is an indictment of the skill positions around him. It's not him. Him being a tier 5 is not just about him.
It's a system. It was a system that he was a byproduct of a failed system.
Yeah,
that's really what it is. Yeah,
all of it. All these guys on offense, though, to me were even Tank, man, and a proper system. What would he have done last year?
Yeah. Do you think that with once we get the development going, do you see us getting to where we're getting beyond game managers as quarterbacks, or are we gonna? Do you see Harsin going for that dynamic QB that can be more than a game manager? Do you see us heading in that direction? I mean, it's kind of early to tell, but just when I look at what he's done in the past, he's worked with that type of QB.
Yeah,
it seems.
honestly, unfortunately, I'm gonna keep it honest with you based upon what we've seen from both him and Bobo. I don't know that that's a guy that he's gonna tout very highly. Like, I think he's gonna want someone who just come in, don't make mistakes, run the system. So I don't know that we're going to be looking at. I mean, hopefully he's going to have, for the first time in his career, he's going to have a shot at that guy more legitimately, right? Like, we can talk about whether he's got an eye for that talent, based upon the two guys that got picked so highly in the NFL draft that he was recruiting at Boise.
Sure.
But I don't know if the system that they want to run is going to be tantalizing to that kind of quarterback. A lot of it's just going to honestly depend upon what we look like this year in the system. If this year we come out there and we're able to do that, win ball games, and even despite the quarterback, but just like look at the same kind of thing that we're having the Josh Pate conversation about. Hey, look at this throw right here. You can make this throw, or look at this catch right here that you would have been able to do this and this and that and get those types of athletes possibly. But they, in their careers thus far, I haven't seen a dynamic quarterback come out of them. They've all been okay game manager types. Like, that's likely what we're going to continue to see unless, again, Bo Nix, freak athlete, right? So if he can just make decent throws and then just go out there and do something amazing on the plays when it breaks down, then maybe you have a shot at that. And they that lets you know that, hey, a Demetrius Davis type of quarterback can work well in my offensive system. I just have never seen that athletic kind of guy who can also make the throws work well here. Maybe, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, we're almost at the hour mark. Mike G, we got some announcements, bro. Talk to us.
Oh, man, listen, we are massively excited about a lot of things going on at the War Rapport. So I've told you once, I'll tell you again, become an insider, $5.99 a month for some of the best Auburn content on the internet, on the Facebooks, on the YouTubes. We are really excited about a lot of the stuff that we're bringing you guys in the coming weeks and months. So our game day experience will be insider only chats, insider only giveaways, insider only, a lot of stuff on game day. So we want to keep that environment troll free on game day. We don't want to let strangers in the house. So become an insider so you can partake in some of that. We're going to celebrate, commiserate, do it all together on game day. So become an insider. We're dropping for the record tomorrow for our insiders. So we did a breakdown. Caesar and I did a blue chip percentage along the offensive line. So how has Auburn been recruiting along the offensive line in terms of blue chips? You're going to want to watch that. So insiders will be hit the comments after the video. Let us know what you think about that. We dropped a building rapport with JT O'Sullivan of the QB school, for former 49ers quarterback. This was a great interview that we did. I encourage you guys, if you haven't watched it, please go watch this. It was very, very educational. And thanks to JT for taking some time to talk to us about QB play and what it takes to make an elite college quarterback. He's got a lot of knowledge, and we appreciate him taking some time to share that with us. We are officially partnered with the Lee County Humane Society. I thanked everybody at the top of the broadcast, but for those of you who follow me on social media, thank you for the well wishes for my dog, Aubie. We've got a long road ahead, but we've got a more positive prognosis on her health this morning. So I'm really happy about that. I appreciate all the well wishes. She brings me a lot of joy. We want to help other people find that joy. So when you go to our GoFundMe and donate, 50 cents on every dollar goes to the Lee County Humane Society to help them not only rescue an animal, but pair that animal with a loving home, just like the ones that you guys have and that we have, so that those two things can bring joy to each other. So thank you to everybody who is donating. And last but not least, we got a giveaway going. Hashtag get your weight up. Thank you, Ike, for sliding that in there on the low. We're giving a t-shirt away here. So this is your last chance. Hashtag get your weight up in the comments to enter this drawing. I enjoy giving things away. Check your spelling. Get your Urban Dictionary out. Make sure you spelt it right. We want to be able to give this away to somebody tonight. So don't have to be an insider to win it. As a matter of fact, mostly non-insiders have been winning for some reason. We don't rig it. That's just the way it happens. So hashtag get your weight up in the comments to enter that drawing for the t-shirts. Last but not least, you can, if you don't win, you can buy this t-shirt in our merch store. The link is in the about section of our YouTube channel. Hit the merch store, get your War Rapport merch. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys posting pictures in your merch on game day, on the weekends, at Walmart, Kentucky Fried Chicken, whatever you're doing on the weekend. Take a picture of it, post it up on social media. Let us know you're representing. This is quality stuff, so we appreciate you guys supporting us in this way as well.
Well, we're at the hour mark. You want to go ahead and hit the drawing now?
Yeah, I think I am. Hashtag get your weight up. What are we looking like?
While Mike's getting that pulled up, man, let me just stress again. I like doing like very vague teasers, so I'm gonna say this: if you are not an insider, you're not a member of the War Rapport.
Yeah.
When the season starts, you're gonna be kicking yourself. That's all I'm saying right now.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, and I say this so often, we are working so hard to make sure all these little dollars that y'all keep shoveling to us, we're finding ways to invest back into this channel. And you all, you're gonna be mad at yourself. I'm gonna just say that when we start making announcements.
Yeah.
When we start making the announcements, just know, you mark what's today. Today is June 30th. I said, once again, you are going to be kicking yourself that you did not go ahead and sign up for that membership.
Yeah, these giveaways are going to get wild. So,
I was going to say real quick, Corey's like Ike is trying to say, if you're not a member, you're a loser. Corey said it. Corey said it. We didn't. Okay.
If you're not a member, you're trash.
I'm just saying you're gonna be upset at yourself because you're gonna be like, wow, like, because I promise you, no shade to anybody else, but all the shade in the world, you're not going to get this anywhere else. You just won't. What we got in store for you, you won't find this on any of these other subscriptions.
Up on the content.
Right.
It's gonna be more than what.
I'm just saying. When I start making the announcements, don't say I didn't warn you. That's all I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah. All right. 71 entries. That's almost half of y'all. So that's not bad. 50% is not bad. Stephen Nash, we appreciate you, brother. See you there. So I'm going to go ahead and draw last chance. Get your weight up. Derek Gunter jumped in there right quick at the end. You have to be here to win, or we're redrawing. So if you didn't hear me say, if your screen is on a delay, refresh right now. If you're on a delay, if you closed your app and reopened it, catch up, because when we call your name, you got 60 seconds.
Yeah, because last time somebody
don't do it to yourself
in them comments like, I'm here. It's like, yeah, we moved on
and we gone.
yeah, right. So here you go, roll it. Let's go. 75 entries. Who's it going to be this week? Who's getting the watch the film t-shirts? If Lisa Wise is here, Lisa, you owe me a t-shirt size, man. You emailed me.
I have not seen Corey's name yet.
Joseph Ballard. Joseph Ballard. Joseph, are you here though?
You gotta respond, Joseph.
Yeah, we'll give you a couple because we know it's on a delay, even though the person may not be on a delay. So
yeah. Joseph, just shout us out, bro. It's so tragic when I have to redraw. It really is. Let's go, Joe.
Yeah, he says I'm here.
Hey,
man. Hey,
listen, Joseph, email us business@thewarrapport.com. That's business@thewarrapport.com. Send us your address and your t-shirt size so that we can
please don't be here. You know what? That makes me feel good. I don't know if it's just the thrill of y'all wanting to win or you actually like the shirt. You don't love it that much because you didn't go buy it, but it's cool that y'all want to win so badly. I appreciate that.
There's something very satisfying about winning a raffle, right? Like,
yeah,
it is very satisfying because I can tell you in my entire life I've never won one. I've never
Congrats
run
to
a raffle.
Mississippi State. They just won the college baseball World Series,
Okay.
beating Vandy. Vandy, this is why we keep you in the SEC, because you went to the World
baseball
Series of baseball. Congrats to making it there again. But
Yeah.
and thank you for Derek Mason. So there it is.
Yeah, appreciate that, Walt.
I don't know.
We don't know.
I don't know.
We don't know.
Man.
We don't
Never
know.
say never,
I
but
have no control over whether or not Corey wins.
this is hilarious. Feels like the sneaker ad raffles. Hilarious.
It's a bunch of box winning.
I know. Right?
Oh my goodness, yeah. So come season time, we've got some exciting things coming. I'm so happy about what we have planned. Come August, it's going to be amazing. And so if you're an insider, you will get a chance to partake in a lot of that. It's going to be great. It's going to be really great.
Quote from WFXX Fox, but to be unbiased, it's still possible that Bo Nix got adequate coaching and still played subpar.
Very possible that he got adequate coaching and still played subpar. My point in all of the Bo Nix
Lawrence Robinson would disagree with that, but
yeah, I
possible.
My point with the Bo Nix stuff is you were putting him in poor situations and expecting him to do Superman things, and he's not Superman. Stop expecting him to be Superman. Let him go out here and be Clark Kent, and he'll be successful as Clark Kent. And every now and then he might do something amazing that'll make you go, oh, wow, maybe he could be Superman. But don't put him in the situation where he has to be Superman over and over and over again. That's not a winning formula for Bo Nix. If you do that, you're going to see his completion percentages go up just because you're giving him more easy throws. He's not having to go out here and run around for 4 seconds while somebody figures out if they can get open downfield. He's not going out here having to throw the ball 40 times in a ball game to make sure that we can stay in the game, because inexplicably your offensive strategy for that game was to throw the ball a whole bunch.
Mm-hmm.
Don't put him in those situations. You won't get the same results that you've been getting typically. Now, that's not saying he's going to miraculously become freaking Joe Montana or Tom Brady with laser on-point accuracy. He's not going to transform into Dan Marino.
Right.
But he is going to be a more efficient quarterback because you're putting him in better situations. That's all I'm saying. Put him in better situations.
Yeah.
Then we'll see what he can actually do.
Yeah.
Or sit him down. Right? Like, that's the only thing I've been advocating for the past 2 years. If this is what you've got on the field and he can't do better than this in the situations you're putting him in, sit him down and put somebody else in the ball.
Yeah, I think that TJ Finley coming in all but guarantees that if he is ineffective, we will actually see the backup.
Yeah.
Right? That's what bringing in TJ Finley. They guarantee themselves a backup that they could consider playing without ruining his confidence or whatever.
Right.
You know, because they're going to handle Davis with kid gloves for now, you know, to get him ready as the heir apparent.
Right.
I think that's it. I still think he's the best talent in that room. So it's not a bad thing that they're doing, but this does guarantee that they will at least have a serviceable backup that they can turn to.
They should.
Yeah, come season, because we haven't had that. I mean, we one deep, you know, coach one deep went to UCF. Right? He recruited top 9 talent, but all that talent was at the one deep.
Right.
Right? There was nowhere that we were truly deep on offense under Gus. I had a UCF fan argue with me on Twitter about some foolishness, and I'm just like, listen, man, like, there's a reason we paid $21 million to bounce him. Primarily because of quarterback development.
Right.
If he were better with quarterbacks, we wouldn't be sitting here arguing about a 5-star QB in tier 5 going into his 3rd year.
Right.
Meanwhile, he inherited a tier 1 QB where he's at. He had no hand in that.
Yeah.
That guy's at Tennessee. So, I mean, Bo, I hope whoever starts succeeds. I hope we're not playing the quarterback shuffle come week 6. I really don't. Or you know what? Here's what would be nice. Maybe we start the season 4-0, and our coaches still feel like We made 4-0 by the grace of God. So if you do not improve, despite the W, we still got to pull you. That's coaching. You don't wait until the house starts falling down to make a change. So I want to see that. I want to see that from Harsin too. I want to see, what if Bo's just okay? Not great, not bad, but we could do better offensively.
Right.
Will they pull the plug and make the switch?
Right.
Yeah, because I don't think this year there's going to be a ton of excuses. Like, we can say the offensive line is just all right. Okay, great. I think they're going to scheme around that. Yeah. We can say the wide receivers aren't, Heisman Trophy candidate guys. All right, I think that they're going to scheme around that.
Mm-hmm.
Then what?
But again, like the locker room, who has that locker room? Who's leading that team? Like again, there's going to be some other things. Again, we cannot see what we saw on the sideline last year. Those days are over.
Yeah.
Harsin does not look like he will tolerate that for 1 second.
No, man, he's not playing games.
He's not playing with that. So
I honestly think that Bo is already on a short leash. Like, he's just like, listen, it's put up or shut up or sit down.
Yeah. I'll say, listen, we can't repeat all the things that get told to us, but I'm with Ike on this one. Based on conversations, I just don't. He has no choice but to be the model student athlete, because anything else will not be tolerated under this coach, and particularly at the quarterback position. Because you have to set an example as a first-year coach. Harsin will not be walked over by any player.
Yeah.
None. I don't care. You are not. No player is bigger than the team or the institution. Now, I think he's going to make sure that his players understand that.
Yeah.
So Bo can be a fiery guy.
Yeah, but direct that fire somewhere else.
Yeah, but
because it ain't not over here with the coaches or the other players, bro.
Mm-hmm. Check that disrespect at the door.
Yeah.
Check that disrespect at the door. And then when the chips get down, if you watch the sideline the last 2 years, it's a lot of Bo sitting by himself. Tell me you guys have seen that. Comment section.
Yeah.
Nobody around him.
Yeah.
And what we're used to seeing is QB messes up, players over there, keep your head up. Let's go. We'll get them next time. All right. Mistakes happen. Forget that. Get that out of your head. Or his guys mess up and he's over there rallying the troops.
Right.
I saw a little bit of that, but man, let me tell you, I just don't think they're not here for the BS. And you're going to have to be the model teammate. I'm not saying that he's not. I'm just saying that I saw some things last year that looked a little questionable in that department.
Right.
But again, your attitude reflects leadership. If you have a head coach who is a leader of young men, you're going to fall in line.
I hope so. That's his
rep. Or have a seat.
Yeah, that's Harsin's rep, though.
Yeah,
that's his rep. That's what he carries in with him. And a lot of coaches' livelihoods. It's funny, after we made the switch, we're trying to quantify, a head coach getting fired. It's not just one guy. It wasn't just Gus.
Right.
A lot of people's families' lives changed dramatically because of the job that he did. Yeah. Every coach carries that weight. It's not just me. It's the staff that I've asked to pick up their lives and move here to do a job for me. So, and all the players' job is to go in there, man, and just do what your coach is asking you to do. You'll practice hard, try hard, or have a seat. So somebody who can do better will do better. And the team can prosper and the coaches can keep their jobs. I would love in 4 years, if we're talking about making Harsin a top 5 paid coach in college football. In about 4 years, when we're reassessing the program, I hope what Alan Green is saying, we don't want to let this guy go.
So let me ask you a question. I know we've got to get out of here soon.
Mhm.
What do those 4 years need to look like for you for that conversation to be valid?
I think by year 3, we are seriously in contention for the SEC championship. I think there has to be at least one SEC championship in there. You got to win one. He's got to get one in the next 4 years.
In the next 4 years, we need to have at least won the SEC championship, which in 4 years' time, that puts us in the college football playoff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, he needs to win an SEC championship. I don't think you're not getting a raise without one.
So let's say that's year 4.
Does it matter?
What do the 3 years preceding need to look like? That's where you were going, Caesar?
Yes.
Yeah, just
because it matters how you win it in the first 4 years, because the previous coach did that
in the first year.
In the first 4 years, he won SEC championship. How does that look like? What is leading up to that point?
Well,
I like this Walt answer right here. 2 SEC appearances, win 1. That's pretty good.
Yeah, like
so consistency. So you're saying so basically he's saying consistency.
2 out of the 4 years you went to the dance and you won at one of them.
But I'm not putting 2 SEC appearances. Because we play in a I would say 1 SEC championship and at least 1 college football appearance in the playoff, because you don't have to win the SEC to get there. Not in a 12-team playoff.
True.
Hell, we might be able to sneak 3 teams in there. Play good enough that you can look. They would look at. Think about last year. How many teams make a 12-team playoff last year from the SEC?
Right.
I'm asking.
At least 3.
The 3, right? Texas A&M, Florida, Alabama, all make that
Maybe
playoff.
Even Georgia. Georgia might have snuck in there.
Right. So in one of those years where you don't win the SEC, be one of those 3 or 4 teams that could make the playoff. Where the only argument really is they played a tough schedule. It was dog eat dog in the SEC. And they couldn't pull it out. Texas A&M's only blemish was Bama.
Yeah.
They got through the rest of that schedule. And they beat the other team that arguably would have made the playoff from our conference that finished runner-up in the SEC championship game. So a 12-team playoff changes the dynamic for Harsin, right? I don't think he easily have to make the SEC the championship game 2 times, because he could lose 1 game and still make the playoff and not make the SEC championship. And that would be considered, to me, that's a marked improvement over what we were doing.
So in order to do that, Auburn currently is in the middle of the conference right now. Mm-hmm. So in 4 years, Auburn should be what? Top 3, top 4 of the conference, top 3.
That'd be top 3.
Top 3 with an SEC championship appearance, playoff appearance, title, SEC title.
Yeah, okay. If you don't make the SEC in that year, it's because the team that beat you went undefeated, and that was the only loss on your record. That would be acceptable to me, because again, the mark is not beating Bama, but unfortunately, only 1 team from the West can go.
Right.
So if that's the game you're going to lose, I'd prefer it not be Bama, but it's most likely that would be the game.
Yeah. And again, the conversation is not necessarily about whether or not Brian Harsin stays on after 4 years. The conversation is whether or not he should be in contention for being a top 5 paid coach.
Correct.
Right. So the standard has to be pretty high. Like, what type of program should put you in the conversation to make you a coach that's being paid like a guy who, so let's just say it's a 14 playoff, right? Mm-hmm. For me, a guy who's getting paid top 5 needs to be knocking on the door of that 14 playoff
every year. Every year.
Yeah, yeah.
Every year. Yeah, you need to be knocking on the door of the playoff, because the guys who are top 5 paid are doing that, exactly that.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's all I'm saying. Those guys are consistently in the conversation for the playoff, whether they make it or not. I hate Notre Dame, but their coach somehow keeps them in the conversation for the playoff enough to justify keeping them on.
And I don't know. I know every team is different, but if you have the discipline to beat a Bama, you should be getting blown out anywhere else. You may not win every other game, but you shouldn't be getting ran off the field.
I agree.
right? Like it should still be. You should still have a hard time playing us, even if you do manage to beat us. Like Georgia should be like, man, I do not
want to go play that game.
Not looking forward to playing Auburn. Win or lose, I'm not looking for. If we're able to beat the Bamas of the world, everyone should be nervous about playing us.
Yeah,
it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. Hey, we got through the end of the season. Let's muster everything we got that we should have been playing with all season long to beat Bama. No, that's how we prepare all week long, every week.
Yeah, listen. Correct me if I'm wrong, but there aren't a ton of seniors on this Auburn team, are there?
I mean, not a ton. There's
along
the
line. Some along the line. Defense.
Not any guys that we're expecting. What's crazy is a lot of the guys who have the seniority are not guys that we're expecting to be high contributors. All right, or they're transfers.
Is McLean? Is McLean a senior?
Yeah, I was.
Kobe McLean, I think, is a senior this year.
Okay. The other linebacker, I keep forgetting his name. Not Papo. He's not a senior. He's a junior.
Yeah, he's a junior. But I'm trying to think who you're talking about. Oh, yeah, he is.
Yeah. So, I mean, my point is that I think there's enough talent returning that I don't expect much of this team this year. I expect them to take some strides, but it's mostly procedural. It may not translate to wins and losses the way we want to in year one.
Yeah.
But by year two, you have to be taking steps forward.
People are naming seniors: Smoke McCreary, Worm, Chandler Wooten.
Man, those some names though on defense. By year two, we should be taking some steps forward, especially offensive.
Especially offense, yeah,
right,
for sure.
Because you're asking like what these next 4 years should look like with him, and then by year three, we're talking about you're in the contention for an SEC championship. Your name at the end of the season is if they win this game, we're in.
Right.
And by year four, you got to have one. And if you don't have one, you need some playoff appearances and you need something to balance it out. Because in 2023, if they go to a 12-team playoff, you got 2 years there in a 4-year period where you could possibly make a playoff without winning the SEC. I mean, you could take the easy route to the playoff, win all your games, lose to Bama, get in the playoff.
Yeah.
Yeah, if Bama is undefeated or it only has one loss and it's a tiebreaker, then Bama would go. Yeah.
And you don't have to even win you don't have to play an SEC championship game. They got another game to play. You're likely in, you're chilling. It's almost like an automatic bid. It may not be a high seed, but they'd have a hard time not putting that team in as an at-large.
Right.
Yeah.
Texas A&M is my example of that. They're an easy at-large pick if we had a 12-team playoff last year. So that's what Harsin's got to do.
Though, to go undefeated and our only loss in the regular season was to Bama. I was so pissed off that game.
Yeah, I mean,
so mad that game.
But you get in, you get in a playoff after something like that, and you make a run. Maybe you don't win it all, but you win a couple games.
Yeah,
make it to the semifinals or something. And that, to me, that's the kind of thing that would warrant. Hey, we need to keep this guy. Let's extend him.
Yeah.
Because he's knocking at the door, and if that's the kind of guy, if we give him just one more year, he's going to get it.
Right.
All those people who thought, well, Gus just needed one more year. No, man, it was time to move on. And we didn't have anything near those kind of results.
Right. Well, again, we would have a year like that where we get close, and then it'll just be nothing for like 2-3 years, and then maybe another year. And so I just want to see a little bit more consistency out of this new coaching staff.
A lot more.
So, Mike G, you want to close us out with some final announcements, man? When we get out of here,
I'm beating you guys over the head with it again. Become an insider. If you're on an iPhone, find a computer. That's the best way to do it. I saw we had somebody sign up today. Joseph Ballard, thank you for signing up and becoming an insider. We appreciate you joining our team. Hit that merch store. You can find this link in the about section of our YouTube channel. Go check out Building Rapport with JT O'Sullivan. This man was spitting knowledge. Congratulations to our drawing winner tonight. And also, if you have not had a chance, it's the end of the month. So we appreciate you guys. We're closing our monthly cycle. If you can get over to that GoFundMe, anything that you guys can do to help us, to help them save animals, we appreciate greatly. 50 cents on every dollar goes into helping them save animals. The other 50 cents goes to our channel to help us continue to grow our platform and bring you guys even better content, which you definitely will see coming. This is not just a channel. This is a community. We appreciate our community coming to commune with us a couple times a week to talk football here, especially in the off season. These numbers have been impressive in the off season, and football has one of the longest off seasons of any sport.
Yes.
So having something football related January through July is amazing. I love it. I love being engaged with the program during those months where a lot of people are just tuning out football. And so we want to continue to bring you guys that because, after this season, I'm sure we're going to have a lot to talk about. And next offseason is going to be even more eventful with the interviews and some of the things and the film reviews and the things that we will be bringing you guys weekly. Chop It Up with a Pro, all that stuff that we've been bringing you guys that's unique to the Auburn fan experience will continue to happen during the season. So just look out for it. We're looking for new ways to innovate. We teased it. The giveaways are going to be pretty nice here in a few weeks. So we're looking forward to seeing the looks on your faces for the winners of the recipients of those prizes. And it's going to be great, guys. I'm excited about the season. It can't get here fast enough.
Speaking of consistency, guys, we will be doing a live on the 4th of July for those who are at the house or wherever your mobile device is and you just want to check in. We'll be here. Maybe not for too long, but we'll be here. So definitely holler at us on the 4th of July. We will be having a live show. Until then, guys, please be sure to share our videos on social media. And please use the hashtag #GetYourWeight Up. Add us at the War Rapport. If you're on Twitter, like and subscribe to us on YouTube. Please make sure you do that. As I said previously, you can find us at the War Rapport on Twitter and Instagram. And we are TW Rapport on TikTok. That's it for now, but we will see you soon. But until then, as always, War Eagle.
War Eagle.